Hello, I'm Susan Dean and this is part 1 of my EDC 1200 assignment. The issue that I've chosen is junk food advertising aimed at children and the impact that it's having on our food culture as part of our national identity. I believe that as Australians we have a very bronzed, sporty type of national identity that's been portrayed in the media over a number of years, and I believe that this is an example of Stuart Hall's cultural mapping, where having portrayed these ideas in the media for long enough, we begin to actually believe it. Whereas in reality, nationally, we are spending around $37 billion on takeaway food. That's just expected this year. It makes us the 11th biggest spending fast food nation, and our childhood obesity rates have tripled since 1985. That was in the Journal of Biology, and the amount that we're spending on takeaway food was in the Courier Mail on Sunday the 5th. I believe that this leaves our perception of what an Australian looks like not quite the same as the reality of what our real physical identity is. The notion that we as Aussies should be slim and sporty and, you know, playing on the beach and all of that, it tends to lead to notions of difference towards anybody who doesn't fit into that physical ideal. So people, and particularly children, who don't have these physical attributes or this physical identity would be seen as the other, as mentioned in the lecture by John Austin in week 9. Children can also form their identity in the way that Derrida described as being relational, as in looking at what we are by seeing what we're not. So kids think that they're fat or ugly because they see what is considered normal in the media, and that's not what they look like. Derrida also notes that normal is not fixed, it's always changing, just as the ideal body shape changes depending on the culture or the fashion, and it has done over the ages. So kids that don't conform to this physical ideal are labelled as different. As Ghassan Haj argued, cultural differences such as the types of food or cooking styles, or also differences in what's considered physically ideal, can be used to our advantage in what he termed as the discourse of enrichment. This is particularly relevant here in Australia, as we have such a diversity of cultures to learn from, particularly when it comes to food. I think as educators we have a responsibility to teach tolerance of difference, especially physical appearances, and to concentrate on healthy rather than fat or thin, and maybe teach students that there's a middle ground between what Homi Bhabha called, between normal and different, as an example of what Homi Bhabha called the third space, where we can be comfortable just being ourselves with our own individual identity. Thank you. Hi, this is Susan Dean. This is part 2 of my EDC 1200 assignment, the teaching exercise. My teaching exercise is aimed at years 4 and 5, around the middle primary school. It requires the students to keep a record of the food ads that they see in the media, either television, magazines, newspapers, billboards, even, that sort of thing. They'll have a few days to do this, then come back to class, split into groups and report their findings. Then basically with their findings we create a bar graph. So it can become a bit of an art exercise as well with the bar graph, so that they can visually see the amount of junk food ads in direct comparison to, say, ads for fruit and veggies or healthy snacks, that sort of thing. This can then lead on to a discussion of different food choices and the impact that different food choices has on a person's health and well-being. Also discuss the different types of food that we have in Australia, the different cultures that we have living here that bring their food cultures into Australia and become part of our food culture. We can also talk about different ways of cooking and eating, and what foods come from other countries. For instance, you know, curries and tacos and sushi and all of that sort of thing. And also, what is Australia's food? What is our cultural food? And do we have one? And if we don't, why not? You know, that sort of thing. It's to make them aware of the diversity of food that we have, and why that is. It's because we have so many diverse cultures within our country, and it's also that to help them understand that that diversity of food cultures that we have is something that we should embrace, and something we should be grateful for, and something that we can learn from, that cultural enrichment idea. So I suppose it's really to make them aware that we have so many different choices because we have so many different cultures, and that no one culture is better than the other, that we are all equal and we should all be tolerant of all the different cultures that we have in this wonderful country, and the fact that it has enriched us as a country. I suppose the general idea that I want them to get is to embrace difference, to see difference as a positive thing, and that it can help to enrich our identity rather than have it divide our country and our sense of identity. So tying all that together, basically I want to get across that difference is fine, that difference can be a good thing, can enrich the culture that you're living in and the environment that you're in, that tying it back into the whole junk food thing, that there are many diverse choices when it comes to food, and those choices lead to different lifestyles, and without touching too much on the whole fat and thin sort of thing and focusing on the healthy, trying to say that, you know, healthy looks different on different people, and that healthy is what we should all be aiming for, and that if you don't look the same as somebody else, it doesn't make them better or worse, it doesn't make you have a label of any sort, that that difference is part of being an individual, and that is what makes a diverse culture that that Australia is built on, really. So basically driving home the idea that that it's okay to be different, and different comes in all different forms, and yeah, and that diversity is a positive thing. Okay, thank you.